Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have not played a single regular season WNBA game, yet they are selling out arenas in the preseason, and Angel Reese got not 100,000, not $250,000, not 500,000, not a million, not 1.75. 2 million people watched an illegal stream of her first preseason game. Now, I just talked about why that is unprecedented and historic on my Sports Daily podcast, and I encourage you to go listen to that or watch it, because the impact that that is having across the board is unbelievable. Caitlin Clark signed a $28 million deal with Nike. Angel Reese signed with Shaquille O'Neal and Allen Iverson and Reebok. Now, will this turn into Larry Bird and Magic Johnson before it's all said and done? Nobody really knows. But the ripple effect of Clarkonomics and Reeseonomics is unbelievable. From selling out jerseys to selling out arenas to the number of views in preseason games on streams and television is unbelievable. I mean, all the major brands, including Moolah Kicks, which I'll talk about here in a second, are joining in. And really, even though they're in competition with each other, this is an example of collaboration over competition. Even though there is competition going on as a byproduct of all of this, because they all want to see women's basketball and women's sports in general thrive. And they want to take advantage of this reckoning, of this cultural phenomenon of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I mean, it is unbelievable. WNBA legend Candace Parker, who just recently retired from the WNBA, a legend in her own right, is now the president of women's basketball for Adidas. Moolah Kicks was founded by this unbelievable woman and entrepreneur, Natalie White. I call her Natty. She was on my Sports Daily podcast early on in this journey. We were so humbled and honored to have her on. And what she's doing is unbelievable as the founder of the first ever female brand basketball shoe in the history of the United States. And shout out to what she is doing. She recently signed Courtney Williams of the WNBA. I mean, the vision that she had at age 23 cannot be overstated. Like, it is absolutely incredible. Like, what she's doing is taking on the New Balances and the Adidas and the Reeboks and the Nikes. Like, it is unprecedented what she's doing. And again, it just speaks to the collaborative piece to all of this, where even though they're all in competition, they're really all working together to grow the game. And I think that is absolutely incredible. It is so inspiring. I've never seen anything like it. And man, I cannot wait to see what the next couple of years in particular bring, especially because of incredible women like Natalie White. Cameron Brink is another example of the ripple effect of Caitlin Clarkonomics and Angel Reeseonomics. So Cameron Brink was drafted by the Los Angeles Sparks. And what she's doing there, I mean, the crowd's going nuts in preseason games already with, her blocking shots and just, the way she carries herself. And she is just an incredible human being, won a national championship as a freshman at Stanford. And so, again, she's just another one of the new unbelievable faces of the WNBA. Now, if you haven't heard, the WNBA announced that they're going to be having charter flights this year. And a lot of that was due to the fact that Caitlin Clark had a video that was going around social media that showed her in the baggage claim area. And I was one of the first people to talk about how dangerous this was because of what's going on around the world, in the Middle East and in Ukraine, and that I was afraid that she would be caught up in something. And look, if somebody is setting themselves in front of the highest house in the land, it's not out of the realm of possibility that somebody would do something wild. And within a week, they had charter flights. I do want to mention the fact that even though it's great, it's unfortunate that it didn't happen last year when we saw Brittany Griner in danger. They should have done it last year. It's also not a coincidence that the charter flights are happening right after the 2 million people watched a stream of Angel Reese. WNBA could not afford to have anything happen to their players during this reckoning that's going on right now. There are cultural phenomenons happening right now, and there's a reason why more people are watching and know about women's basketball players than men's basketball players. And finally, I couldn't help but think about this week with all of the things that are happening, and I couldn't help but think about G and Kobe this week. I don't know why, it just sort of popped into my head with all of things happening, from the over 24 million people that watched the NCAA championship game, and Angel Reese, and Cameron Brink, and Asia Wilson's new shoe that was just announced, which again is unbelievable. It's going to be called the A1 and will debut next year. But I couldn't help but think about Kobe's impact with women's college basketball, and the first thing that comes to mind is Sabrina Ionescu of the New York Liberty and their relationship, and obviously him training G, and all of us watching how she was developing as a player and as a person right before our very eyes, and how she would be going to college in a year. And there's no doubt in my mind that Kobe would have owned a WNBA franchise. But the impact that he would have had at this moment would have amplified it even more, almost to the point of how we saw Tiger Woods change golf. So even though Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are the face of the WNBA right now, again, I couldn't help but think of how incredible it would be if these two were still here with us. Rest in peace. So let's support these incredible women. Buy their shirts, buy a hat, follow them on social media, comment on anything that you see that resonates with you on social media, on any of the platforms. Go to the games and make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, because we have never seen anything like this. And I would be remiss if I didn't give credit where credit is due. From the women of the original W, the WBL, the Women's Basketball League, to the incredible players of the ABL, like Val Whiting, an incredible influencer on social media and two-time national champion at Stanford, who also played in the WNBA, one of the few players to play in the ABL and the WNBA. Shout out to all the incredible women and players who continue to influence the game that were part of the beginning, the inception of the WNBA, like the Cheryl Swoops, like the Lisa Leslies. So what we are seeing right now is similar to what Taylor Swift did for the music industry. And if you don't think that's real, you are completely living in a dream world and in denial. So be ready to spend some money. Women's tickets are through the roof, as they should be. There are games being moved to new arenas, and sellouts are happening all across the board. You better get your tickets now, because you might not be able to see a WNBA game like you were able to in the past. Now go do the right thing.